This is Flying Circus, and I present these videos in memory of my friend Mike.
Hi, Yellow Man! Hello, Yellow Man. Shout out to you from Flying Circus.
Ladies and gentlemen and children of the planet Earth, this is another one of those videos by the crazy guy from Howard Beach, Queens. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And in this particular segment, we are going to discuss the fact that the United States of America was a gift from God, likened unto the fact that the Great Pyramid, which appears on the reverse of the $1 bill, was a gift from God, which is similar in nature to the Ark of the Covenant, which was a gift from God. And also, all three of these individual items that I just discussed are part and parcel of a fourth gift from God, aka the Bible. And ladies and gentlemen, to prove all of this is Michael Fazio of Hoodwinked by an Angel, bringing you some information that which none of you have ever seen before. And this is the piece of information that I am about to bring forth to the world, in that George Washington is a representation of the Alpha. The Alpha, because George Washington was the first president to appear on the $1 bill. However, George Washington will also be a representation of the Omega, because George Washington is going to be the last president that appears on the $1 bill, because Barack Hussein Obama, through collusion and subversion of the United States Constitution, is in the process of collapsing the economy. Therefore, George Washington, being the first president to appear on the $1 bill, will also be the last president to appear on the $1 bill, thus representing a perfect representation of what the Lord God said that he was, aka the Alpha and the Omega, in a series of pictographs upon the obverse, which this is the obverse of the $1 bill, and the reverse of the $1 bill. In fact, there is 3,300 of these pictographs located on the obverse and reverse of the $1 bill, including this particular pictograph, "In God We Trust One," which is a representation of the Lord God's first commandment, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Entwined and encoded on the obverse and reverse of the $1 bill are more than 3,300 pictographs. And in this case, aka the case of the book I just completed, we are going to discuss some of the various pictographs that appear on the $1 bill as interpolated by Michael Fazio via one perception of a God. Not necessarily the Christian God or the Buddhist representation of the universe or the Zen aspect of this world, but one representation of a God that has existed throughout all time and space, has deemed it necessary to place proof of its existence on this world so that it could be not denied by anyone on the face of the earth once the information has come to fruition, as discussed in Deuteronomy 32, where the Lord God placed the word of the Lord God throughout the four corners of the world like the fine mist or dew on blades of grass. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And by the Lord God placing "In God We Trust One" as an encryption between what is occurring on the $1 bill and what is actually taking place within the words of the Bible itself. This is a series of pictographs proving the existence of the Lord God. This entity that I have outlined in green with orange eyes is a representation of the seraphim that appears on the back of the $1 bill, because this is a representation in its entirety of the Ark of the Covenant. And to prove that this is a representation of the Ark of the Covenant, Exodus 25:19, and make one cherub on one end and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on two ends thereof. This being the mercy seat, the central portion of the $1 bill, which is in fact encoded into the Bible as being made of gold. However, if you understood what the word gold meant 3,314 years ago, and you understood what the word white meant 3,314 years ago, the two words being interchangeable, this becomes the mercy seat in gold. God sat in the center of the mercy seat upon the Ark of the Covenant. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Lord God sat in the center of the mercy seat upon the Ark of the Covenant, protected by the cherubim or cherubs, in this case, as it is depicted in the Bible, one on one end of the mercy seat and another cherub on the other end of the mercy seat. And this is a complete two-scale replica of the Ark of the Covenant itself, given unto Moses by the Lord God on the Sermon on the Mount. All of this is portrayed in great detail within my book, because for some reason, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse, the Lord God has given me the gift and ability to see these pictographs for what they are. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you unequivocally that what you are looking at on this green or the reverse aspect of the $1 bill is a minimum of 2,200 pictographs. And what you are looking at on the front, that is described as I am the Alpha, George Washington being the first, and the Omega symbol, that which no one has ever seen before, is a representation of the Lord God proving its existence on a global level. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You, because of your inability to see in a non-linear fashion, have been hoodwinked into believing something that isn't real. And what isn't real is the fact to some people that the Lord God would go through all this trouble and not make himself known to the world via a methodology that would publish his existence like a little book or a scroll throughout the whole world on a global level to all four corners of the universe as we know it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You have been hoodwinked by an angel, by something most people don't even believe it exists. Believe it or not. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michael Fazio, the author of the book called Angels on the Ark, by Michael Fazio, proving once and for all that in fact an entity that we perceive to be God has in fact permeated the entire planet Earth via a book or a scroll known as, you guessed it, the $1 bill. And to prove this is the Alpha and the Omega and the Lord God's first commandment, aka thou shalt have no other gods before me. Ladies and gentlemen, today is June 22nd, and God day to you all.